The cities of the future may not look anything like the cities of today. They may not be built on land or on water. The city you live in might be inside a computer.
Cities are technologies that were created to allow people to share knowledge and ideas. Ultimately, we'll be doing that in virtual reality environments. And really, geography won't be a limitation.
We're going to see that in another 10 years or so, what we think of as our work today in the real world has moved into the virtual world.
People today are spending more and more hours on the World Wide Web, living out fantasy lives in virtual environments. But in the future, more of us will start working in virtual cities, like the ones in Second Life.
It is an open world in which you can do anything you like, in the same way you can in the real world.
Millions of people have already recreated themselves in this four-dimensional parallel universe. It's a world populated by real people living through digital surrogates called avatars.
My avatar is something that I've grown very attached to. It doesn't look exactly like me.
In the virtual world, everyone gets to live in their ideal body.
You have the ability to choose a truer reflection of who you really are than even your real body. It actually sort of exposes you to other people in a way that can be very compelling.
There are many things you can do in the virtual world that you can't do in the real world.
Like, for example, fly.
Every day, almost 250,000 people log on to the virtual 500 square miles that make up Second Life. And they stay logged in, on average, for 4 hours, building structures, buying land, selling products and services, and creating an entire life. But is any of it, well, real?
The word virtual reality is unfortunate because it sounds like it's virtual. It's not real.
Think of it this way. The first virtual technology was the telephone, putting people's voices in touch over vast distances.
You can't say to somebody, oh, that agreement I made with you last night on the telephone, that's not a real agreement. That was just in virtual reality. It's real reality, even though it's a virtual space.
The virtual world is as real as its participants want it to be, especially as people begin to make a living there. For the employees of Linden Lab, the company behind Second Life, their commute to work can take virtually no time.
Linden Lab today is about 300 people. We work in a number of offices around the world, and many of us work completely virtually in Second Life. We have a great big island. We have meeting rooms like the one we're in now. We work together in that virtual space as effectively as we would if we were all in a single office. You see your avatar sitting next to your coworker's avatar. There is a sensation of being close to that person, and the feeling is very, very different than using a video conference or a speakerphone. While I certainly enjoy working in our real conference room here in San Francisco, more and more these days I find myself doing most of my actual work inside Second Life.
In the future, we'll no longer need a physical city in order to share an office building or a stadium concert. We'll be able to do it all from home, online. But that doesn't mean the end of cities. It turns out, when given a choice in the virtual world, people still want the urban experience.
People want to be together, whether you're in the real world or in the virtual world. And so cities happen. Dense urban areas happen, even in a virtual world where they don't need to.
But the geography of our virtual cities will be a bit different.
In the real world, we build cities around rivers or certain types of natural resources. But in the virtual world, we tend to build cities around ideas.
Looking to make new friends in the cyber goth community? You'll find a city for it. Longing for the good old Soviet days? Try a communist city. Today's social networks will become fully realized virtual cities. One added benefit of life in the virtual city? No discrimination. After all, you have no idea who's behind the avatar you're working with.
So people are completely successful on their own merits.
That cute young woman might really be an old man. In real reality, does it matter? Maybe you only care about who they are in virtual reality.
Today's avatars aren't very realistic looking, but as computers get faster and more powerful, your avatar in the virtual city will become more realistic, more human.
The technology of Second Life is still, in many ways, in its infancy. Most computers still can't present a virtual world to you in a really high-quality way, but they will be able to in another couple of years.
For many, the migration to virtual cities is already happening.
We establish real lives there. We have homes, we have jobs, we have friends. And this is something that's fascinating to watch.
And the reasons we'll spend more time in these virtual cities of the future is the exact same reason we spend time in real cities today.
The essence of the city is about meeting people. It's about face-to-face contact. The notion of being able to meet somebody that you wouldn't have the chance to discover.
That's why we choose to live in cities, because of the opportunities that arise when you bump into somebody or you happen upon something. A lot of unexpected things will happen.